picture.
Good morning and welcome to The Future is Now. I touch the future by teaching none other than the great Krista McAuliffe. But today we are blessed.
We are blessed.
We are better than blessed.
Yes, we are.
To be in the studio today with two special guests. But I want our co-host, I'm Pastor Chris, but I want our co-host to introduce herself to everyone out there in podcast land.
Well, good morning, everyone. And I am Bishop Crystal, the senior pastor at New Zion Tabernacle. It is my absolute pleasure to be here today. I am so excited about our segment. So often we think about education, we think about the traditional 4 years here or 4 years there in a particular discipline. But I want you to know that today our goal is to inspire you for your next, to let you know that beyond your moment right now, God has something very special for you. Sometimes we think that I'm just too old or there's nothing else I can do with my life. But we want to encourage you today to know that God has great plans for you. And because we are his chosen people, he has a next in your future. And today we're going to talk about what that next could possibly look like. And I know you'll be inspired to get up and get busy doing something different.
All right. And I guess I need to be official. I'm Pastor Christopher Riley, and I bring you greetings from Wayman AME Church in the great city of Peru, Indiana. And I've made a move, Bishop, since the last time we were on the air.
Tell us about that move, Pastor.
You know, I was pastoring in LaPorte for 4 years, but God has blessed me to move to a new church, new assignment. And the best is yet to come. When I walked in on the first Sunday, God spoke to me and said, "This is where I need you to work." I received the appointment. Everything was official. But when I walked in and the Holy Spirit spoke, I was like, this is just confirmation.
And, you know, that's a great example about what we're talking about today. You
Absolutely.
are entering into your next.
Yes.
And there's a next for all of us, even me, hallelujah. So there's a next for everyone. And our guests today certainly have a next for us. We'd like to welcome to the set today Dr. Carmen Hicks and Pastor George Hicks, who's also Dr. George Hicks. And they're going to talk to us today about their journey. And I always tell my church, you know, don't just do one thing, because you never know if that one thing will expire. But if you stay relevant, you stay fresh, you begin to move into that next dimension. So talk to us about your next and what God is doing in your lives.
Okay, I'll let you go ahead and start. Wow. You know, life is a journey.
Yes.
And so my journey started many years ago. As a child, I enjoyed school, enjoyed reading, and just the opportunity just to go to school was great for me. For me, I am the first in my generation to go to college. And I was inspired by my grandmother. She loved me, and I loved her, and but she actually poured into me a seed to go to college. And I'll back up just a second as well. When I was in high school, I didn't even think about going to college. It wasn't on my radar because, you know, no one in our family went to college. However, my junior year in high school, I took up accounting. And I enjoyed it. I did well in accounting.
Amen.
And so with that, I was encouraged by my teacher. She said, you should consider going to International Business College. And through that journey, I went and I received my certificate in accounting. And then I went to get my associate degree in accounting right after that.
Okay.
So that started my journey in education, the non-traditional route of a 2-year college. From there, I went into the workforce at the local bookkeeper, working for a local bookkeeper in town. Worked there for 2 years before entering into corporate America.
Okay. You know, when I think about what you just said, somebody inspired you.
Yes.
And so often, especially if we're around the right people, they'll see things in ourselves that we don't see that thrust you into the next. So I want you to just put a pin in that point, because that's powerful to be around the right people, that you can get the right kind of inspiration that will thrust you into your next. They saw something in you that at that time you did not see in yourself.
Absolutely.
Hallelujah.
And that was so key. And even to this day, whenever I see that particular teacher, I let her know the impact that she's
Wow.
had on my life.
Yes, thank God for teachers.
Yes,
Absolutely.
teachers are so important.
All right. All right, Dr. Hicks.
Well, I was about to say on education. My next, I'm actually in prayer, and God is actually maneuvering some things and showing me of my next. But I tell you, it's been a journey. Of course, I'm in a field that I've never thought I would be in this field, and that was a next that he had for me that I didn't know, and so he's taking me deeper into that field. And not sure how
Go
much you want me to
ahead.
share that,
Yes,
but
go ahead.
growing up, of course, and our stories are kind of similar as far
Yeah.
as education and things of that sort. Because even in high school, I don't recall my guidance counselor even talking about college. Never one
Wow.
time did she ever bring up college. And I heard about, and it's funny, I didn't even know him, but I knew of International Business College. I had some friends who was talking about going. They didn't go, but they talked about it. And I approached my guidance counselor and asked her, and she said, "Well, yeah, that's at school." And it's like, but she still didn't even try to
Encourage you.
encourage.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so on my own, I just kind of did some, some checking with the school myself, just checking on my own. And so I positioned myself so that I could make sure I had enough credits to graduate finish by January, my high school credits, because International Business College had a program starting in January, and the next one didn't start until that November. And I said, well, I don't want to wait that long. So literally, like every month, I would go to her office and say, can you verify, make sure I have this credit, that credit, and and then my confidence wasn't really too good in her. I'm thinking, I need you to check again. I need you to really check. I need to make sure. Yes, you got it. So I got enough credits to make sure that I completed by January all my requirements for high school graduation, jumped into the program at International Business College, and then went back and walked with my high school class in June, and then graduated in November
Wow.
from the program at International Business College.
Wow.
And then graduate. It was that original one was a certificate program. Entered the workforce. Worked for a local insurance company in Fort Wayne, and then went from there to one of the utilities company, Indiana Michigan Power, and then decided, oh, I'm going to go back. It was something in me just wanting to
Yes,
go further,
yes,
And
yeah.
some people, just traditional 4-year right out of high school, it works great for some, but
Yeah.
it doesn't work for everyone. And I knew I
Good
wanted
point.
to go to college, I just didn't, and it was a good way to kind of test it to see what I wanted to do.
Right.
And so went back and did my associates. And so as I was going through that, I was like, go further, do it again,
Yeah.
And so, and then still kept while working and going to school and at some point, married and babies and all that, and still decided to return again. So just go to show, and so you're juggling,
Yeah.
but God gives you the strength and he gives you, the grace to do everything that you need to do, that you desire to do.
Yes.
And so went back to school and pursued my bachelor's in business management. And I remember that last semester, actually it was because I was working full time, and they said you could take, a full load and finish, this after this semester, or you can take this, it'd be much easier for you. Just take this and just go one more semester. I said, I don't know. I am tired. I'm not going through this whole semester. So literally, I remember going into class, and I said, God, I need you to give me the, just give me everything I need to get through this.
Right.
Help me the attention, the focus, everything. Help me to retain, maintain everything that I need to,
Yes.
and contain everything that I needed for this. And so I just stayed head down and just completed it, and but yeah, so, and then fast forward, ended up my next that I didn't know was the next. I had worked for that company for 10 years. They were doing some downsizing. That's when everybody started doing downsizing and doing all this stuff. And so I was like, okay, so there was one gentleman, unfortunately, literally when he got where he was getting job
Right,
eliminated, he actually committed suicide.
Wow.
It was awful. And so I said, that's not going to be, my thing. I said, God. So when all the transition was happened, I said, God, I belong to you.
Yeah.
So whatever you
Yes.
do, whatever
Yes.
it is okay with me. And so
well,
what I
okay.
didn't know is that God had entrepreneurship in my future. It
Yes.
was something that I never, ever wanted to do. Never wanted to be an entrepreneur, ever. And my thing was, I just want to go clock in, clock out, and be done with it. And so, go ahead.
I want to say this because I don't want the viewers to miss this. because in transition, you saw something different.
Yes.
Yes.
And sometimes in transition, it blocks us from seeing what our next opportunity is. You could have been bitter or bad,
Yes.
but you chose now to begin to reinvest in yourself. And that's what we want to emphasize today, that no matter what's happening,
Right.
your future still is bright.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately,
Yes.
you didn't have the inspiration he had, but it was in you. That inspiration. So you were self-inspired, and there's a point to be self-inspired. So tell us about this next thing that you guys did.
So I, of course, like I said, the entrepreneurship, thing was launched,
Yes.
and I started doing some things. The initial thing was the Mary Kay business. I started doing that, but then as time went on, my husband, I like to kind of share that how we kind of not really stumbled because it was all God's plan.
Yes,
It was all
yes.
God's plan, and His ways are not our ways. No, His thoughts are thoughts.
Yes.
And so as time went on, and I currently work in the funeral industry, and as time went on, it was not something I ever
Was
thought
not
and
on
never
the radar.
envisioned.
Right, yeah.
At all.
And a lot of people heard my testimony. My testimony was growing up, I was always terrified. Anything having to do with funerals, any of that. And when I tell you, God took my greatest fear and turned it to my greatest passion. And I love serving in this industry and serving families and loving on families and helping them and coaching them through all those steps through that process. And so as we're going through this journey, ended up going back to school and got my mortuary science degree.
Yes.
I mean, it's just
Wow. Yes.
You know, as my journey continued, I was in corporate America for about 10 years. And after that, I decided to go back to school and get my undergrad. So we had similar journey. We went to Indiana Wesleyan.
Okay.
Yes.
So we both have our degrees from Indiana Wesleyan. And a few years later, it's like, that's not enough. I need to do more because I want to be able to inspire others. And what Carmen mentioned, that change in our career, again, being a part of corporate America,
Yes.
we had some downsizing. I was impacted 2 years in a row. And so I said to myself, what can I do to reinvent me?
Yes. Oh,
And
that's
I look for
powerful.
opportunities within the community because I being a servant, I wanted to serve. I went to a local funeral home to volunteer my services because I wanted to be a part of the community. I ended up working for that local funeral home, being able to work in various capacities there as well. One of those capacity was a funeral attendant, but I also was aftercare
Aftercare
counselor and also pastoral staff as well.
Yes.
So I had that opportunity to serve people, and I thoroughly enjoyed serving people because it was ministry to me.
Yes.
What happened about a year into working there, they said we need someone to be a pre-need counselor. I went to my employer. Unfortunately, it was a conflict of interest.
Okay.
So I wasn't able to be an insurance agent for them and my company as well. And that's where my lovely wife came on board, where she has an entrepreneur. She has the sales gift. I don't. I would give everything away, but my wife has it. She's been in sales for 29 years now,
Okay.
so she has that gift. And so we approached her, and this is where she talked about her greatest fear became her greatest passion. So she was approached. She said no, didn't want to do it at all, but it was just something about God and the need,
Yes.
fulfilling the need that we had. And so I'll let you continue from there.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I did say no for several months, but I was on a prayer walk one morning and I said, God, I said, if this is something you have for me, because he was coming home giving messages and the owner was calling me, Carmen, please, Carmen, this and that. And I said, God, if this is something you have for me, I need you to do something with this fear.
Yeah.
It was massive. It was
Yes.
so massive, and I never saw myself getting around it. And fast forward, many stories between that time, but fast forward, I don't know when he took the fear, but perfect love cast out fear. And he cast
Yes,
the fear
yes,
out.
yes.
He cast it out, and as a result, we continue to work in the different capacities of the funeral industry, and then also I began to work also in the cemetery industry. So a combination of both sides, and I'm not sure how much more you want.
Go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
but you decided to start school, get your mortuary
Right,
degree.
right.
Yes.
And I also decided to go
Right.
back and get my mortuary degree as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Didn't want her to have all the fun by herself.
Well,
But
that
you-
was. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm seeing something else too, because the way you all support each other, isn't that amazing,
It
Pastor?
is amazing.
I mean, to have a husband and wife not competing but
Right.
cooperating,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't matter about who has the idea, that you guys
Yes.
feel it's a God idea and you're running with the God idea.
Yes.
So I want to commend you as a couple that supports
Thank
each
you.
other. That whatever you all do, it's both of you. You're in
Thank
that
you.
together,
Thank you.
and that couldn't help but strengthen your marriage.
Yes.
So that's
Oh,
that is an example too
Thank you.
for everybody to see.
I'd like for you to talk about how it strengthens your marriage. You
Yeah.
talked earlier, Carmen, about the fact that you stumbled or that you all stumbled.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes we mistake preparation for punishment. And when God is preparing us,
Yes.
That's really good.
he's not punishing us. He's actually preparing us for
Yes.
greater.
Yes, yes.
You know, we preach and decree and declare that our latter is going to be true than
Yes.
our former.
Yes, yes.
But we got to get to the greater.
Right.
We have to be prepared for the greater.
Yes.
Preach, Pastor.
No, right now. Amen. Amen.
Yes, and that's true. And everything I've done, I can truly say he has always been, 200% supportive. Encouraging. In his line, he always says, "How can I help?"
Yes.
That's it. He
Yes.
always says it to me, and so because he wants, no matter what, that's what he does. And so, I thank God for bringing this gentleman into my life. It's 30 years this year.
Wow.
Amen.
Praise
We
God.
met as a blind date. I know we kind of.
Oh, that's all right.
good.
Met as a
Yeah,
blind,
all good.
A
It's
mutual friend
life. Yes.
introduced us, and we met. And she said, "I have you guys married in 6 months." And he said, "Absolutely not." And we met 6 months. We talked marriage, and literally 9 months
9
after,
months.
10 months after we met, we were married. And so here we are. So anyway, but you went back for your master's too, honey.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So after being in corporate America, given the opportunity to do more, I
Yes.
went back to school to get my master's degree, and this is through Indiana Tech. I had the opportunity to go there, and also keep in mind too that my employer had tuition reimbursement,
Wow.
and so having that opportunity for my undergrad to be reimbursed through my employer, but then also for my graduate, I have a MBA in human resources.
Yes.
So that opportunity just to give back. I had the opportunity with my employer to be engaged in a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion opportunities there, community engagement. And so I thought this was a great opportunity for me to expand my skill set and as well make myself more marketable, as well as let others know my age, 50 plus, going back and getting a master's degree.
And you said something key about being more marketable, because I think oftentimes, especially we as a community, we
Right.
really think like that. And there's giftings in each of us and greatness in each of us. And the fact that you begin to recognize I can do more with my life. And even as a couple, that we could do more with our lives. So don't ever feel that you flatline, that life is over for you. And I believe that as long as God gives us that breath, that next breath, God now is beginning to push us forward into something new, a new dimension. So look at what God has done with this couple, from the way they got their bachelor's degree and then master's degrees. And so what about the doctor degrees that you guys have? And I want you to talk about that, but I want you to know, don't miss this. He says to her, "How can I serve?" And he says that not just to her, but that is the life he lives. It's a life of servanthood. And if you choose to serve, God said, if you serve, I'm going to make you great. And I can see God making them great through that
Absolutely.
mindset of being a servant. So talk about that next degree.
Wow.
You go.
I'll let you share some.
I'll share. Go ahead.
See how they're preferring each
Yes.
other?
Yeah. Oh, just a quick story before
Okay.
the doctorate. I want to share this. I've had mentors throughout my life. I want to
Yes.
encourage people to have mentors, because
Yes.
mentors are important in your life. And one of my mentors is to my left.
Yes.
Bishop
Praise
has
God.
inspired me to be in the position that I am in terms of associate pastor. Was not a part of my plans.
Yes.
But God saw something through Bishop about me to position me to be where I am
Thank you,
today.
Lord.
So I'm thankful for that. I also had a mentor who he was 65 years old, received his law degree, and I'm saying, you're
Yes.
honored retired veteran. You've been in corporate America. You're a seasoned senior leader. Why did you go back to get a law degree at age 65? And he said to me, he said, George, one word, options.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Options. And I thought about that as I wanted to make myself more marketable, and also being 50 plus, going back to school. It was encouragement for younger people to pursue their degree as well, and also being a part of various organizations in the community, youth groups, being a part of the UNCF, being a part of the MLK
Yes.
Club. Uh, those were opportunities for me to show the younger people that they should continue and
Yes.
value their education. And so, as a part of what we've been able to share our life within the community, we were honored with an honorary doctorate degree based on our contributions to the community. I've been on various boards within Fort Wayne.
Yes.
I've been able to serve the community, and it was just a great opportunity, and very honored to receive an honorary doctorate degree.
I must say, initially, I fought that as well. Spirit of fighting, to find that. I fought that as well, and then some people in the community kept saying, "Carmen, no, you've been doing the work. You know
Right.
all the things that you've done, all the impact that you've had on
Right.
so many lives, and and people and organizations, and all these different things, and." I didn't see it at first, and then as they started kind of telling me, because I just do, and I don't, oh, I did this, I'm this, whatever. And as they began to kind of unfold and share, and I was like, wow, really, and so then I eventually stopped fighting and accepted that, and so here we are.
Here we are, yeah. University of Heaven to Earth. We're so honored
Yes.
Yes.
to be receiving an honorary doctorate degree,
Yeah.
and it's just an opportunity for us to. You have to step up to the next level,
Yes.
and sometimes people are leaders without the titles, but then with the title, there's that expectation that you're going to
Yes.
be this leader. So we're honored to be a part of that move.
You know, George, I want to commend you that you didn't let age limit you. Oftentimes we say, and we were talking about this
Yes.
before the beginning, we'll say, I'm too old to do this. I'm too old to do that. But you didn't allow age to limit you, and you allowed your mentor to pour into you. Oftentimes folk want to pour into us. They do. And we may hear, we may listen, but we don't take heed.
Yeah.
So I want you, the two of you, to talk about being parents and grandparents.
Talk about it.
You know, you've done so much
Yeah.
great work,
Yeah.
but you're blessed with children,
Yes.
and you've been blessed to pour into your own children as well as others.
Well, I always yield to him. He is an incredible father. And it's funny because my sisters a lot of times, so Father's Day and Mother's Day, he would get cards. Just incredible, and to be able to, and we try to, what you see with us is how we are. What home, it's the same, and so we, in our home, we try to raise our kids and teach them that, the things that that we know to be true and stuff, and so people make their own choices and things like that, but we love them, and he loves being Paw.
Yeah,
And they are such a great example of a family, even in ministry
Yes.
and in the community. But I have a question as well. And first of all, when they decide to go into the funeral services business, and knowing some of her fears, I said, okay, but this is what really blew me away, and I want them to talk about this. When they went to an embalming class, I wanted to know what that was like for somebody that had those kinds of fears. I can't imagine even
Right.
doing that. I'd be apprehensive, I think, but This lady's done it.
In our program, you do have to do actually, it was at a minimum 10 actual hands-on actual embalming. He did a lot more. He did a lot more. And so, and only God, I cannot say only God, because you go from,
Only God.
I couldn't even watch a movie with just the empty casket on it because it would have just the after effect. I would just couldn't even sleep. Just it was just on television.
Right.
And to go from that to actually being in an embalming room, a prep room, and the facility that I utilize, literally one day I'm sitting there embalming a body, and I counted. There was 30 bodies, not counting the one I was embalming.
Wow.
In this facility. And I stood there as I'm embalming. I said, God, this is you, only you. I mean, I could have just fell on the floor, boom. I mean, it just,
Wow.
30, I literally counted 30, not counting the one I'm embalming. And I said, God, this is just, so I can take no credit. It was just amazing. Even when I was going to, because I've been doing the funeral pre-planning. I've been doing that. It'd be 20 years next year. I'm passionate about that.
Yes.
You got to see the difference it makes with family. But before I got to this point, when I said yes to join the team for the funeral home, but I still wasn't quite, I was doing the funeral pre-planning and all that. And sometimes he would go do removals. He would go if someone passed, whether it was a home or wherever and stuff. So one day we were out and about, and he got a call for removal, and he said, he figured, well, he know I'm not going to go. He said, well, I'll be back. I said, well, I'll go with you. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, I'll go. Because I had just gone to the crematory for training, had been in crematory training and did all that training. And I thought, I went through crematory, and was this in the crematory? Oh, I can do this. We get in the car. I'm thinking all the way down to St. John Hospital, my heart is going like this. What have you done? You know you cannot do this, And as time went on, I mean, I literally, I told him, I said, I'll just wait back at the funeral. He said, no, you're fine. So we went. It was to go from being that fearful and that afraid to actually going in, working in the funeral home. Nobody in there. Go in. It's dark outside. You go in. You open the door. You turn the lights on. You go all through. You doing some makeup. You're doing this. You're doing to go from being that fearful. Only God. And I still say I still feel there's more to me. And so there's some others, some next steps, some things that we still have on the altar and praying. And there's some opportunity that has presented itself, and we'll talk to you about that later.
Okay.
But
Yes.
but yeah, and so yeah.
I'll also share this. Day one, her first day at the funeral home, fear. Fear overcame her so tough that it impacted her internally, that it impacted her externally, where she broke out.
Had hives everywhere.
She had hives.
Wow.
Could not explain what. We sending her to doctors in Indianapolis, but it wasn't until she let go and let God
Yes.
handle the situation, and then he brought a peace upon her. Even that first day, they said, we need you to watch The Office, right?
Yeah.
She refused to go inside. She was outside, and my wife doesn't like the heat. It was 80 plus degrees outside.
Wow.
She's on the sidewalk of the funeral home with the phone in her hand. And she's like answering phone calls outside because she had a fear of going inside.
Oh my goodness.
Just going inside the funeral home. That's how deep this fear was.
Yeah. And I want the viewers to know that that fear is spiritual.
Yes.
It is a spirit, and it's almost like the enemy knows when God's trying to open a door for us and then stymie us just with fear, but know that it has not come from God.
Right.
But he hasn't given us that spirit of fear or timidity, but really to be bold and courageous into our next step. So it is amazing to me, just the journey, period. And I want everybody to know that they didn't just jump into this and say, I'm going to do this today, and today they're doing it. There was a season of preparation. Right. And so talk to us about how, just briefly, we got a few minutes left, how important it is that for us, that wait period between preparation and manifestation.
Right. I would say, of course, it's very important, but it is what you do while you're actually in the wait period. You're taking the time, you're preparing, you're working on yourself.
Yes.
You're working on yourself. And sometimes we want it like right now. We think it's right now, but no, it's like sometimes that season it could be 3 years, it could be 5 years, but it's like while you're waiting, hone in on your skills. Continue to learn. Continue to educate yourself. Continue to share, your skills with others.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, a lot of times it's like project management. The work goes into the planning. A lot of times people want to just jump right into it, get a project done. But for us, it's been in the preparation and it's in timing. It's all about God's timing. And so God has allowed us to be in this industry. God has allowed us to gain the experiences that we've been able to gain over time. And now it's time. It is time. There's times where you may resist, but you need to allow God, heed to God's voice, and move when the time is right.
And I know we don't advertise on this program, but they have been such a financial blessing to many families. And death is something that we all have to
Yes.
face. It impacts every family, every household. So if they're interested, just tell everyone how they can get in touch with you guys.
You can call me. My direct cell number is 260-385-8527. I'm also the owner of Hicks Monuments and More. We provide headstones, monuments, memorial gifts, caskets, vaults, but you can also contact me, like I said, my direct number or my business line, 260-744-0054.
Yeah. And also hicksmonument.com. Go out on our website, take a look at the products that we offer, the services that we offer. We're just looking forward to what God's going to do in this season.
Amen.
And I
Amen.
recommend they do that first. Before you call
Yes.
anybody else, call them first.
My
They're
motto is
person.
call Carmen, helping you make it easier for those you love.
I love it. I love it.
Well, folk, we are out of time, but we thank George and Carmen Hicks for joining us today. And they're truly examples of faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And I just want to say to the two of you, eyes have not seen, nor ears have heard what
Amen.
God has in store for you and yours.
Receive it.
Amen.
And everything connected to you will win,
Yes.
whether they realize it or not.
All right.
Everything connected to you will win. Again, we thank you for joining us for The Future Is Now.
And I'd like to say, remember now, without preparation, there is no manifestation. So be prepared to prepare yourself, because this is the year of the open door, where God is calling us now to new places, to new dimensions, to new diversity of occupations as well. And the future is right now. It's right now. Don't delay. Your future is waiting for you.